Welcome to the Nameless Ones with Avian Doyle, myself, and the angelic realm that I am connected to, that I am a part of, and that I channel on behalf of. First of all, I want to say a shout out to Kyle Tripp. Hi, Kyle. Thank you for sharing and mentioning my work in your audiobook. So I highly recommend you pop over to Kyle Tripp's channel and have a listen to the chapters as they are pouring in every so often, every week or two on his channel. And it'll also give you an idea of the kind of work that I do. And it's a very clear, accurate, very powerful book about Kyle's experiences and his spiritual talents, connections and gifts. And you can also check out the work he does. So I am honoured to be part of Kyle's ascension and part of my work, as well as helping people with their personal, emotional, spiritual stuff. I also help people to find their way on their healing path, on their healer's journey, on their light worker, spiritual teacher journey, and how to navigate that, because I've been doing this work all my life and I understand the challenges and the obstacles that come with choosing to use your spiritual gifts in this lifetime, on this current timeline at the time we're in as well. And those of you who are very young, really, even though I know you have your challenges, and your challenges will be different from the challenges I had, but one thing I will say for you that's working in your favor is that the world is much more open. It's an open place now where you can actually discuss and have a platform for your spiritual understandings and for your teachings or for your healing message. I was born in 81, so the word meditation really wasn't part of Irish vocabulary when I was growing up. And we did have healers, but it was more tied up with superstition. Not always. There's always been healers, and there's always been people doing the genuine, real, ear to the ground work throughout all time. Ascended souls, spiritual souls who come in with that wisdom have incarnated throughout all time and will continue to do so. So, another message I have is about my workspace in Castleknock Village in Dublin 15. So if you're interested in coming to meet me in person for a one-to-one session, which includes angel healing, spiritual counseling, CBT. You can also have card readings. You can go to my website at aviandoyle.com. So I'll put that link in the description. So if you want to book a session with me, you can fill out the contact form and you can contact me through my website. I had someone in the comment section of my last video ask about the Rainbow Children. So I've spoken at length to the Blu-ray souls, the Blu-ray collectives. I've spoken many times about the Indigos. I've also addressed the Earth Angels, and of course my beloved crystals, my fellow crystal souls. The Rainbow Children, the reason I haven't spoken a whole lot about the Rainbow Children is because the Rainbow Children are really only coming in recently. So most Rainbow Children would, and I don't want to get hung up on dates and I don't want to get hung up on numbers, because if you feel in your heart of hearts that you are a rainbow child, well then that's what you are, and you don't need a number and you don't need dates and you don't need timelines to validate that. And you certainly don't need me to validate you in any shape or form. My role is to empower you to trust your own gut and to trust your own intuition. So, I've got some beautiful sunlight streaming in, but it's kind of funny. We really don't know a whole lot about the rainbow children because it's such a new energy. It's a new frequency of soulage. I just heard that word now, coming in through the angels. Soulage coming in. So their soul lineage, in other words. It's what I will say is the very few rainbow children that I have encountered have a conciseness about them. They're very clear. They're very confident. They're empowered. They fully remember that they are a soul. They fully remember that they are love. There's a profound awareness, and it's there from day one. So there's a maturity to the child. The child has a very mature perspective and a mature understanding of why they're here and why they've come at this time. They are incredibly sensitive to conflict. They are mediators. They are peacekeepers. They have this rare combination of being a peacekeeper, but also being fearless about speaking up and speaking out. But they do so from a very calm, confident, wise place. They're not reckless. They're not in conflict with the opposite agendas. They're not in conflict with the world as it is. They understand how to work with the energy, and they have an innate instinctive knowing about how to work with that energy. So they don't feel the need to push against. They work within the energetic nature of this planet, and they understand that nature on a very deep level. What else can I say about the rainbows? Well, as their name suggests, I'm being told that they're very, very colourful. They're colourful characters. They're not ashamed of their colours. They embrace their colours. They're very comfortable with their nature. So they can often be quite eccentric. They can often have an unusual I'm just tuning in, I'm channeling. Okay, I'm getting that they have a certain texture and colorful nature to their energy field. So they embody all the rays. So the blue rays obviously are dominantly blue. The crystals are dominantly crystal clear. The indigos, obviously indigo, right? Earth angels often have a kind of a pink or a green energy about them. So the rainbows, all the chakras, all the colors are activated and open. So they have that balance about them. But because they are so naturally in their divine frequency, they can come across to those who are very socially conditioned as being eccentric. And it's not even that they are eccentric, it's that they are so completely whole. They're so completely themselves. They're not indoctrinated. They're not, you can't condition these rainbow children. They they simply can't hear those negative programs. Their frequency is tuned in much, much higher. So I'm just being told now that some of you who are expecting, or some of you who are in your late, maybe mid to late 20s, some of you will actually be bringing in or are bringing in a rainbow child. And it will be very obvious to you with this child because there'll be something about them that stands out. There'll be something brighter about them, in that now all children are equal, all children are children of God, and all children are connected to those rainbow frequencies, but they come in with a specific purpose of service, contribution, creating balance wherever they go, bringing color, bringing more joy. They're very joyful. They're very, let me give an example. Whereas with the indigo children, they often struggled with things like ADHD. They could struggle with autism, learning different abilities, things like that. And they, indigo children sometimes could come across to people as quite stubborn or hot-headed or high-tempered, but that was more because the world that they incarnated into wasn't ready to receive them, wasn't able to allow them to be empowered beings, was trying to fit them into the mold, right? But because we've moved past that and we've expanded and evolved as human beings, as a collective, as we are going deeper down the birth canal into the fifth dimension, the rainbow children are coming in at an easier time. So they're coming in at a time where their colourful nature is more embraced, is more understood, is more accepted. Now, we must give honour and credit where it's due to the early indigos, the indigo children, to the crystal children, to the earth angels, to those who came before and who blazed the trail, myself included. We had a much tougher time because the path had not been trodden. So somebody had to be willing to go ahead, so to speak, and was, you, if you're a crystal, if you're a Blu-ray, especially the Blu-rays as well, you would have volunteered to take on those extra challenges on behalf of the collective, on behalf of humanity, so that if you visualize a path in a woods that hasn't been trodden, that has not been walked, there is wild flowers and fauna and twigs and there's ditches and bushes in the way, and those of us who volunteered to come ahead, we said we'd get out there and we would beat our way through the path so that the children coming behind us, the souls coming in after, would have a much easier time moving through. So I often feel great respect and honour for one of my dear friends who is an indigo, who would have had a much tougher time than the crystals coming in the 80s. So the 80s and 90s. So here we are. We still have a lot more to learn about the rainbow children. Just tuning in. Yeah. And the angels are saying, you don't get to open all your presents before Christmas Day. In other words, they're saying, let the rainbow children reveal and delight you in what they bring, and that they're not going to take the surprise element out of it either. They're a fairly new influx of volunteer souls. So that, I'm not saying you're not a rainbow child if you identify as that. That's completely up to you. As I said, self-empowerment, right? I'll never tell you who or what you are. I can tell you what the nameless ones, if you come to me for a session and you ask me, I can give you what the angels say about it. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide who and what you are. I think ultimately we are all children of God, and we are all from source. And it's best not to get too hung up on labels. And I always say that in my videos. Don't get too hung up on that stuff. Let yourself express yourself in any way you freely choose, as long as you're harming nobody, right? So what else have I got to say to you today? October. Ooh. as I tune into October, I just feel this beautiful, wild, pink flame of energy in my chest, in my heart chakra. So I feel like the heart and the human heart are making a deep connection, and the higher heart, those three hearts are just connecting and vibrating and dancing together. And then the energy moves up, and I feel like a beautiful flame of violet in my crown chakra being activated. Just take a breath into that and just visualize that in your own body, right? So you've got this gorgeous pink flame in your heart, in your chest, and it's bringing in these fifth dimensional higher love frequencies. It's bringing in a richer focus on your personal life and on your connections in your personal life. So you might be looking deeper at your family connections. Actually, yeah. Children, I feel as well. Those of you who have the blessings of children, you may feel you are being drawn to spend more time with your children. You're being drawn to connect with them on a more emotional level. And then we have romance as well. It's a very romantic time. I've noticed in the readings I've been doing in the last few, like the last week or so, there's a massive focus on romance. But I think it's more about romance as in romancing your life, romancing your rich, juicy life, enjoying the connectiveness with your friends, with your loved ones, with the people that you most choose to share that divine spark with. I feel as well an influx of creative energies. So being creative in your leisure time, in your recreation. So if you're always doing the same old thing, I think October is a great time, especially the fact that at the very end of October we have the pagan New Year. Excuse me. So we have on the 31st of October in Ireland, we celebrate Halloween, right? But the original celebration of that was considered the wheel turning into the new year, into a new cycle, a new timeline. So there is an energetic shift as we approach the end of October. So it is a great time for, like when we have the calendar New Year, we say we have our New Year's resolutions, don't we? Well, let's kind of take a more holistic approach to that. But you could say, okay, well, what new energies, what new activities, what new things and new ways can I do to enrich my life? For me, this time is all about richness. It's all about connection. So reaching out to that good friend and spending the day in the park or going for a meal together. Instead of spending money on objects or things or stuff that you don't need, choosing to spend that money with somebody you love, doing something creative, something that adds to the colors of your life. So I had a date the other night where my date took me out to see a play in the theatre, which was lovely, in the Bord Gáis Theatre. It was My Fair Lady, and it was just so refreshing, right, to go and do something different. I haven't been to a play for a while. It's not something that perhaps I make enough time for. So that's an example of how you can use these energies to do something new and interesting and stimulating. And I remember I was saying after, it's like it was so sensual because there was all this dancing and there was singing and there was music and there was acting and there was all this creative juices flowing on this grand production. And just by being in the presence of that, you're drinking in those frequencies, you're drinking in all the fun and frolicking and hard work and creative thoughts and ideas and the beautiful set designs and the costumes and the sheer talent of the singers and the actors and the dancers. So your aura is being fed. Your aura is being enriched by that. You're being nourished by observing and clapping and singing along and becoming part of this creative production. So that's a great example. Instead of just always sitting in front of Netflix or sitting in front of the TV, like I don't watch TV. I haven't owned a TV ever. I've never actually owned a TV. I mean, I watched TV as a kid and as a teenager when we had it in the house. But when I moved out, I just didn't bother with it. I love a good film, but there was something about being in an interactive experience that was very life enhancing and very energizing. It was very energizing. So what can you do to energize your life and to add to the richness and colors that are happening in your body? Another thing I will say, tune into how you feel. Notice how quick we always go into what we think. So just go into your body and actually scan your body, but not from a thinking place, from a feeling place. So going into that feminine part of you and how do I feel? So I'm sitting watching the play and I'm like, how am I feeling? I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling the exhilaration as the curtains part, you know, and as the dancers come on the stage. So really getting in tune with that sensual nature, with that sensuality. That's what October is about for me. It's about the heart. It's about this heart in the heart chakra, my human heart. It's about the higher heart, and then it's about the crown. And then if we want to bring it really holistic and really bring it into a full circle, we can draw that energy down and we can anchor it down into the root chakra. So if you want to come see me in Castleknock in Dublin 15, you need to go to aoibheandoyle.com. That's AOIBHEANNDOYLE.com. Obviously www, I shouldn't have to say that, we know that by now. www Worldwide Woman. Maybe that's what it stands for. Okay, I hope you're really, really well. The light's going crazy on me. This is the winter setting sun. Next month officially will be winter, so it's harder to catch this light, but it's wonderful when I do. I hope you're all so well. If you enjoyed this message, leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up. You can subscribe. Angel blessings, angel blessings, angel blessings.